Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of the Crunchyroll Reviews. This is episode number 4, and for this episode we are talking about the anime 11 Eyes. Now, for those wondering, let me give you some backstory on, let me give you a fact sheet on the series. Alrighty? The series started on October 6th, 2009 and ended on December 22nd, 2009. It has been licensed by Chiba TV and Sentai Filmworks. There were 12 episodes. There is, in case you're wondering, or there are, games for this. And the games are on the PC, 360, and PSP. The PC game is rated 18+. I wonder why. Okay, I can give you a hint why later, trust me. The 360 and PSP versions were rated C and B respectively. PSP got a B rating, 360 got a C. Okay? Now, idea of the story goes like this. Our friend Kakaro lost his sister 7 years ago. Which, trust me, that's gotta be devastating for anybody. He ends up in an orphanage. Okay, I'm down with that. So he ends up in an orphanage, and there he meets a friend named Yukiko. And they become really good friends, and they end up going to the same high school together. Well, you see, or they end up going to school together, just period. You see, Kakaro has something that's a little bit different about him. Do me a favor. Take a look in the mirror and look at your eyes right now. Seriously, pause this video and go look in the mirror and look at your eyeballs. Now, in your case, they're probably both the same color, right? Okay. This is the way his go. This one is blue, I believe. But this one is special. You see, somehow, when he was born, Kakaro was given 2 different eye colors. One was blue, one was gold. The gold is for a certain reason, which I'll get to in a second, because it actually turns into one of the biggest plot points in the series. And one day, per the plot, they decide, they being Kakaro and Yuka, to go to a fair, or to go to a shopping district for a special after originally declining with their friends. Who, by the way, really aren't important. I hate to say that, but they're not. So, they're going to go to the shopping district, but something happens. See, that special eye, well, it acts up every so often. Or it can act up every so often. And when it does in this case, it can transport Kakaro and whoever he's with from one dimension to another. Sounds like fun, don't it? The dimension is referred to as the Red Night. And the moon is referred to as the Dark Moon. Okay? It is in here where humans do not exist, cars don't exist, nothing exists in the way you remember it. But creatures who I will refer to as shadows, because I really don't know what else you would call them, roam around, and it is your job to either kill them or they're going to kick your ass and possibly kill you. Well, this is where the fun starts, because towards the end of episode 1, when all looks to be forgotten for them, they meet a woman named Mizuru. Make sure I pronounce that. Yeah, No, excuse me, Misuzu. I'm sorry. Now, she is a very skilled swordswoman. How skilled? Well, she can use 5 different swords. And no joke, each one of the swords represented by sigils that she painted on her fingernails. So whichever one she wants, she can pretty much call it up whenever she needs it. Sounds like fun, don't it? Well, it is. And it turns out to be very, very important and very much a lifesaver for the first bit of this first bit of the story. And every time they go into this Red Knight, they meet another new person, it seems. Well, it starts with just Misuzu. Well, then it turns into Kokori, Yukiko, and Takahisa. Now, I told you that Misuzu is a swordswoman, right? Well, Kokori, she's interesting. She can use chains to impale her enemies with, or bind them. Sounds like fun, don't it? Doesn't it remind you of somebody from 07 Ghost, by the way? Caster. He's good at binding his enemies, and except he uses strings. You're literally a puppet to him. Not so here. Then we got Yukiko. She's interesting. Why? Well, you see, she's all married and nice until she takes her glasses off. Then run for the hills, because she's a psycho bitch. Just make sure you can outrun basically somebody who's about as fast as a bullet train, because that's what she is. And she goes about 200 miles an hour, and she can hit you about this fast. Oh, one other thing. She really can't die. Yeah, there was that little thing in there. Then we got Takahisa. He is our pyromaniac. Gotta love that, don't you? He throws fire around. He throws fire around like nobody's business. And they are opposed by the Black Knights. The Black Knights go as follows: Avarita, Ira, Invidia, Acidia, Gula, and Superbia. And they are, by the way, named after the 7 cardinal sins. There's one important sub-character that you're gonna need to learn about in this series. Her name is Shihori Momono. We'll just call her Shihori. She becomes a very interesting and very integral part of the story, because she lays out one of the biggest plot twists that you will ever find in a series. And I mean ever. Because let's put it this way. When you think you know who the good guys and bad guys are in the series, you pretty much are basically given a big Now, just to really give you the idea here, the basic premise, alright, is that the Black Knights are blocking a crystal which contains Lisette Weltall. Now, Lisette is a witch, okay? And, well, she needs some things in order to be able to do anything. One is she needs the Black Knights to die, because if they die, then the seal on her crystal ends up weakening, and she can break out. But she also needs fragments. Where do we get those from? Well, you would think you would get them from the Black Knights, right? Not quite. But this also deals with one of the big plot twists, which I'm not going to reveal, although I sort of kind of did there, but I'll let you find out for yourself. I will also tell you, because this is considered an ecchi, which is borderline hentai, and an action series, there is at least one scene where you kind of sit, well, let me rephrase that, 2 scenes where things kind of go, really? And one scene that when it actually happens, you go, or you have my reaction, which was, what the f? And when I tell you, if it was one of those, it makes you just go, okay. This series does have 2 endings to it. There's an ending in episode 11 and an ending in episode 12. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you to figure out which ending is a good ending. Because this show was really cool. It just has one small little problem. See, back in my Ultimo review, I mentioned that there were 2 endings, but it was hard to tell which was the good ending versus the bad ending. Well, when you watch this series, it's kind of the same thing. Which one's the good, which one's the bad? Especially when you read the titles of the episodes. You kind of sit there and go, okay, yeah. However, that should not deter you from wanting to see this series, because it's actually really good and it's action-packed and the fight scenes are brilliantly done. Now, I should also mention this. The series does not have an English dub. It is Japanese sub. The only series we've done the only thing we've done so far that had a English dub that was reviewed so far was last night / early this morning with Little Nemo. That was it. This, it was English subtitles for the episodes, Japanese dialogue. However, here's a twist. I may have already mentioned this, but the episode titles, they were in English, but they weren't translated from Japanese. Now, yes, if you go over and look on Wikipedia, the episode titles do have the Japanese translations, but that wasn't what we used. What was used was actually the Hungarian translations. No, I'm not kidding. Hungarian. And I don't mean the psycho from Axis Powers. Although I do kind of like her. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, here's the ultimate question for you. Is this series worth your time watching? In a word, yes. Matter of fact, you could probably finish this series in an entire day. I started it at about, by the time I got home, which was about 3:30. Actually, no, I started probably around 4 o'clock, and I got done officially around 10. So you could finish the entire series in one sitting, or one day. Kind of like you could also finish Ultimo in one day. If you were to ask me who my favorite character was in this series, ooh, that's a tough one. God, that's a tough one. Because, look, you have to try and figure out with a series like this, who is the most likable person that you can find? Or the one you can probably identify the most with. Mine was probably... Give me a second and I'll tell you. Yeah, there we go. Yukiko. And the reason I picked her, because of how fast she could literally move and do some other things. Plus the fact that for the most majority of the series, she couldn't die. She could do whatever she wanted. She's where she could pretty much, you know, go jump on a thing of spikes and pull herself up off the thing and, you know, just go. And you're like, what? Swear to God, she was reminding me of Dante from Devil May Cry. But anyway, yeah, if you can find this series on, well, first off, I know it's on Crunchyroll, but if you can find this series at all through Amazon, through PlayAsia versus through CD Japan, through any site, and you can get a hold of it, do so. Just fair warning, there are 2 H scenes, well, implied basically H scenes in the series. They get kind of freaky deaky, but they're fun. Go check it out. Anyways, you all have a great night, and since we got done early, you may see me around midnight, 1 o'clock for a late night shift, but we'll see. But until then, you have a great one. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing yet. I haven't picked out my series for tomorrow. But if we get it finished, then we will definitely do one, and Sunday we'll have the day off. Okay? So y'all have a good night. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.